All right, good afternoon, everyone. We will get started here in just a minute. I'm going to give just a few more minutes for people to join in and make sure we have as many people in as possible before we get started. Okay, well, we will go ahead and get started. We have a lot of information to cover today. So welcome everyone to today's webinar, Live Like You Love It. What is it and how can my organization benefit from it? Today, you will hear from myself, Alyssa Quinn. I am the co-chair for Colorado WaterWise and also the LLYLI committee chair. You will also hear from Melissa Brassfield, who's with Colorado WaterWise, and Jessica Auerkirk from Evoke Communications. All right, so to start with the webinar today, we're going to start out with a couple polling questions. So you can either type in the pollev.com and then enter Melissa B134, or we have put a link directly in the chat that you can just click on to access the polling questions. So we will just give everyone 1 second. So the first polling question is, what basin do you live or work in? Okay, all right. Getting some more responses. Okay, fantastic. Thank you, everyone. Okay, our next poll question is, what type of organization do you represent? Okay, we have water districts.
I'll just note, I think there's a little bit of a lag between responses and what's displaying on the screen. So apologize for folks if you're responding or typing something in and not seeing it here. This one might be given some issues. Oh, someone's saying that it's stuck on the first question still. Then we'll go ahead to the next question and see if that one works a little bit better for folks. That should be a selected answer, not a written in one.
Okay. This one is, does your organization have a dedicated communications staff to assist with your outreach efforts? There we go. This one seems to be working. Okay, great. Well, thank you everyone for answering those few questions for us. It just helps us kind of gauge and know who's joining us today and who's on the call. So thank you very much. Just a quick housekeeping reminder for everyone. Everyone is currently muted. You will not be able to unmute yourself. Once we get towards the end of the presentation, if you do want to say something to us, please just raise your hand and one of us will unmute you so that you can speak to us. If you have any questions or comments during the presentation, please put those in the Q&A section. If you're having any sort of technical issues or things aren't working, go ahead and drop those into the chat. And just so you all know, this is being recorded, so it will be posted on the Colorado WaterWise website after the presentation today. So let's start with, who is Colorado WaterWise? Colorado WaterWise is a community of water stewards, innovators, activists, and educators. While you don't need to be a member of Colorado WaterWise to access some of our great information, as a Colorado WaterWise member, you do receive access to regional water efficiency experts, technical tools, professional networking opportunities, such as our annual symposium, and a forum that fosters collaboration and innovation in water education and technology, along with the wonderful LLYLI Toolkit. And so you can learn more about joining Colorado WaterWise if you are not already a member by going to our website at coloradowaterwise.org. So what is LLYLI, or Colorado Water, Live Like You Love It? It's a statewide education and outreach campaign which delivers a unified message about the value of Colorado water and the importance of using it wisely. So this all started back in 2013. It came out of the year 2012 Year of Water celebration that I'm sure many of you remember. The group of the 2012 water celebration said, you know, this was great. We need to keep something going to really keep the momentum out there and continue to educate communities about water and the importance of it. So WaterWise, Colorado WaterWise, went ahead and kind of took ownership of it and created this toolkit and campaign that serves as an education and outreach campaign for its members. So the toolkit includes graphics, ads, templates, social media posts, etc., that you can use and co-brand, which we will get into here in a little bit. Each year, Colorado WaterWise invests its funds to create more material, new material. So it is constantly being updated and with new topics and new information. So as an active Colorado WaterWise member at a $500 or higher level, you do have access to the entire toolkit. So LLYLI really taps into the emotional connection Coloradans have with their water. We encourage lifestyle choices and behavior changes that reflect their love and appreciation of water. That was something we found while creating this toolkit back in 2013. We did a ton of surveys and just really try to find out what is it that people love about Colorado, what they know about it and their water. So out of that came 3 core principles: conserve, care, and commit to this critical and finite resource. So some of the main components of the LLYLI Toolkit, as I mentioned, there's messaging, there's graphics, and there's a robust communications toolkit. That includes a ton of different material that we will go over a little bit more in depth as the presentation continues. The toolkit includes a wide range of co-brandable material. So you will be able to put your logo on it as if you created it yourself and use it for your customers in your area. So the LLYLI Toolkit represents an investment of over $100,000. When we started this project in 2013, we had some utilities and different members that committed some money towards this to really get it off the ground. And now every year we continue to put more and more money into this toolkit. And so with an investment of over $100,000 available to you, you're getting it for just a fraction of the cost. So I am going to go ahead and turn this part over to Melissa.
Awesome. Thanks, Alyssa, for kind of giving that background and introduction to the LLYLI Toolkit. So I'm going to take a couple minutes in the next few slides to show everyone what is included in the toolkit. And I will preface this by saying this is just going to be a sampling of the toolkit. It's not going to go over every single piece of what's included, but it will go over kind of what we hear is the most common and popular pieces from our organizations who do use the LLYLI Toolkit. I'll also touch on how you can access the materials and the steps that you need to take to be able to get that access, information on just some tips of how you can get started, and then some real world examples, and then we'll jump into the feedback, and fingers crossed the polling will work. If not, we're going to work on the back end to get some things updated there. So let me get the slide to advance here. Maybe, there we go. So the first piece, and these are going to come up in chunks as I talk through them, is graphics and logos. So we have created the Live Like You Love It logo, the little circle that you see there, and that's included on all of our materials. We've also created or taken some of the graphic pieces, graphical elements from fact sheets or other pieces that we've created, and taken them and saved them as individual files so that you're able to use those materials. If you want to create something on your own, you can still have the same kind of look and feel and branding of the whole LLYLI Toolkit. We also have social media posts. So these I'll touch on in a little bit more detail on the next slide. But these show or share both images as well as captions that you're able to plug into your scheduling for your own organization. We also use these on our own channels and platforms. So you're welcome to just share the posts that we push out on our LLYLI Facebook and Instagram pages. The next pieces I'll cover are fact sheets. These I'll touch on in a lot more detail in the next couple slides, but these cover a variety of topics. These are intended to be, or they're designed to be 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper. That you can share in person or digitally. We also have templates. These are a variety of different templates. They include things like what you see on the screen here, which is a sticker, so that you can have the LLYLI logo, your own organization's logo, print them, hand them out to customers or residents in your area if you're at events. We also have templates that are, for example, a watering calendar or schedule calendar for irrigation systems. Things like that are included in those templates. And then we also have written content that's kind of a catch-all for us. There's things, if you have a newsletter or maybe an HOA reaches out to you about some information, that's kind of pre-written content, as well as some images that you're able to use in a variety of different formats. You could put it up on your website, those sorts of things. We have our own website, LLYLI.org, that has a handful of a lot of resources that you can point residents to. If you happen to not have a website dedicated to water conservation, this is a great resource to be able to point your customers to. We also have a couple videos that speak to water conservation and the importance and value of water in Colorado. And then we have also over the years developed a handful of ads. These vary in size. Mostly what we have found is kind of standard print sizes. We also have a series of bus ads. So if you wanted to do a bus ad with RTD partnership, those are already created within the LLYLI Toolkit. The other piece that I'll mention is all of our materials within the LLYLI Toolkit are also translated and available in Spanish. So this is something that we had kind of dedicated and committed to as an organization a few years ago to make sure that all of our materials are available in Spanish as well. We'll talk a little bit more about that bilingual opportunity when we get to the feedback portion of the webinar as well. So I'm going to take a couple of minutes over the next few slides to dive a little deeper into some of these and give multiple examples beyond just the one that you guys had seen on the screen before. So these are the fact sheets. Like I said before, they are intended and designed to be 8.5 by 11. There are 2 sides to each of these. And they vary in the topic and content. So they cover things such as indoor and outdoor conservation, the 2 that you see here, the WaterWise landscaping, kind of a how-to guide for watering your yard in Colorado, some more broad general, just what is water in Colorado, why is it important type of messaging. What I haven't displayed here but is available is we do have some that are more focused towards commercial and HOA that might be applicable to those sorts of customers that you're trying to reach. These can, as I mentioned before, some organizations will link these on their website, share them digitally. You can also easily print them because they're designed at 8.5 by 11 size. You can print them in your office, hand them out to your staff, say, hey, you're meeting with a customer this afternoon on this topic, indoor conservation, give them this fact sheet, already designed, ready to go. So they're really easy and convenient. The piece that I will also touch on, all of these materials and a lot of the materials within the toolkit have the option to be co-branded. So that basically means that you're able to add your organization's logo and a website link to these materials just so that it has your own organization's designation as well. The next piece is the social media content. So again, this is a very small sampling of the social media posts that we have available within the toolkit. I would say I haven't counted them lately, but we probably have about 100 posts that are available on a variety of topics. The thumbnails that you see on the right are basically the images that are provided. They either have just the logo or a little caption in the image, and they vary from wildfire, water conservation, drought, indoor conservation, outdoor conservation, winter watering tips, landscape tips, those sorts of things. What you see on the right-hand side is a Word document that's also provided that basically has, for this image, here's a possible or a draft caption for that. By all means, you're not required to use that caption, but it's just there as a resource. A lot of the smaller organizations who don't have as much time and resources available to them find that helpful just to be able to copy and paste. We as an organization also use these on our own social media pages. So if you follow us, you'll see us using these, this content as well as on our pages. And this is also something, as Alyssa mentioned, these are not static, so we are ever adding to this. One thing that we had found is we didn't have as many winter-specific social media posts recently, so we went through the process of developing them. A lot of them are in kind of the second section that you see here with some of the more snowy images. So that was some feedback that we had gotten from members and ourselves to be able to create new materials going forward as well. This is a little bit of a catch-all slide that I put together. The image on the left-hand side is a kid's activity kind of placemat sheet. So this is was actually a really fun piece to put together. Very graphics heavy, very enticing. That is very much in line with the Live Like You Love It look and feel. This is definitely something that you guys could utilize for, if you have a children's festival, you're partnering with a school in your area, or if you want to work with a restaurant to be able to provide these, activity placemats for the restaurants in your area. The one thing that I'll point out on all of these images is that little pink circle. I'll touch on that in a couple of slides, which is the area that we have kind of designated, set aside as co-branding areas. The 2 images on the right-hand side are what we call within the toolkit, the bill inserts. So many of you guys have the opportunity throughout the year to include some messaging with your customer bills. These are sized and formatted in a couple different size options, just acknowledging that not every organization has the same allocation for bill insert sizes. So just keep that in mind that these are available. This is just one size that we had pulled together. And they vary on different types of topics and content, but those are available as well with the co-branding opportunity in that little bubble. And the last piece that I wanted to mention, and again, we'll preface that this is just a small sampling of the toolkit, is we do have an entire section that is dedicated to the topic of drought. So we had a few years ago developed this segment of the toolkit that includes social media posts, a video, as well as a fact sheet and some other materials, really focused and honed in on drought in Colorado and why it's important, the issues and concerns that come with that. And this is available within the toolkit. It was just something that was very topical. And you'll see that in the structure that we have in the toolkit, that this is very specifically called out as well, just for ease of members to be able to find that drought content. So that's a lot of information to try and absorb, but if hopefully you're thinking, that's awesome, how can I start using this? How do I get access to the materials? I've broken it down into really two different options, which everybody on this call will fit into one of these two categories. You're either not a Colorado WaterWise member or you are. If you are not, that's unfortunate. You can't use these materials until you get access or you become a member. And like Alyssa mentioned, it is available at the $500 level or higher. For those of you guys who aren't familiar with our membership structure, we do have one level that's below that $500 level. It's a basic $250 membership. You get, I think, like 5 pieces of the LLYLI toolkit with that basic membership. As soon as you get up to that $500 level is when you are able to access the whole entire toolkit of items. Excuse me. So if you are already a member or you would like to join, great. There are a couple steps. It's not immediate, or the access is not immediately granted once you become a member. There is one step, which is a use agreement, which is basically a document that says, we as Colorado WaterWise are providing you, organization, access to these materials for the duration of your paid membership. It's a pretty short and simple document. You review and sign that, send it back to myself at admin@coloradowwaterwise.org, and then you'll receive a link to a Dropbox folder. Dropbox has been what we transitioned to a few years ago as really the easiest option of how to share the materials with members, mainly because these files are not small in size. They're definitely not something that we could be emailing to individuals. And it allows us to just be able to better manage the toolkit as a whole. The one thing that I will mention before I move on is the use agreement is available on the website. We'll be sending out some additional information to all of the attendees and folks who had registered for the event, and we'll include a link to that use agreement. So you're not trying to dig around and find that. It'll be easy for you to find and be able to get access to. So once you get access, you're probably thinking, okay, where do I begin? We have $100,000 worth of content. Where do I start? So I wanted to touch on just a couple of things that are helpful from the beginning. First is the Dropbox organization. The image on the right side of the screen are basically the chunks or how we have categorized the different files. We find this to be helpful because I feel like most organizations say, I'm getting ready to go to a community event and I need to print fact sheets. That way you can easily go into Dropbox, go to the fact sheet folder, download the file that you want, and you're ready to go. That way you're not trying to dig through topical content or anything like that. The other, there are also a couple pieces that are good kind of intros to the guide or intro to the toolkit. The first of those is the outreach guide. This is a multi-page document that really is a deep dive into every type of piece of content that's included in a toolkit, gives a lot more examples than we'll go over today of how you can utilize these materials within your organization, and just some other tips and tricks to using the toolkit within your organization. And then the last piece that I wanted to mention as far as materials that can help you get started in using these is the communications calendar. So this is something that maybe for some of you individuals that are at larger organizations already have an organizational communications calendar, which is great. But this is something that we had put together that is focused on water conservation and really gives examples of how you can utilize materials within the toolkit. So this breaks down month by month, gives potential themes, subtopics, and then based on those themes and subtopics, what materials within the toolkit kind of align with that can get you started. This is by all means not a requirement that you use these things. But especially for some of our smaller organizations that kind of maybe struggle to get started or have less resources, these two pieces are really helpful to get you guys started. I will touch on the next slide a little bit about co-branding. Co-branding is one piece that some organizations have struggled with in the past, and I'll kind of get into that on this second, assistance and questions. It is really a great opportunity for you to be able to add your logo to all of the pieces that you're sharing and utilizing within the toolkit. Like I said, we have heard that it can be a struggle, mainly from a resource capacity standpoint. Maybe you don't have the program, Adobe Creative Suite or something like that to be able to make the edits. That's where we can come in. If you reach out to us, we do have resources available to us within our kind of budget every year to be helping organizations co-brand. So if you reach out and say, hey, I don't have the time, I really need some help, I don't have the program to be able to do this, reach out to us, send us an email, and we can work with you on co-branding the materials, getting your logo and website added to the toolkit. Also, if you ever have questions, oftentimes we get some new members who say, I have no idea where to begin. And even with all of this information, they're still a little lost. We're more than happy to set up a time to jump on a Zoom call, share our screen, go through Dropbox, give you guys some examples, walk you through how to download and co-brand the information. Or if you get a new person on your staff who maybe is going to be running with this outreach task, they may want to reach out and do a call with us on how to access the materials and how to make those edits and updates. So I'm going to touch on a couple things on co-branding just to give some examples, and I will preface this by saying these are not necessarily generated and provided by organizations. Some of these were ones that I had done myself, just to kind of show some examples. So the image on the left is a fact sheet that the City of Fountain, I pulled this off of their website. They had added their logo just above the LLYLI logo on the left-hand side. And then these two pieces on the right-hand side just kind of show what the document will look like when you download it with that little pink circle, and then what it looks like once you add that logo and the URL. I added the one on the bottom with the City of Thornton, and I did this one myself. It was not provided by the City of Thornton, just to show we put a circle in there, but we understand that not every organization has a circle logo or something that would fit within that area. And you can see when you're comparing the two, I actually nudged the LLYLI logo over a little bit to make it fit. Little modifications like that are okay, acknowledging that not every logo is going to fit within the space that we maybe designate on the piece. And again, questions, issues with the co-branding, please let us know. We don't want that to be the reason you don't use the materials. So we have the resources available to help. I'm going to quickly go through and display a couple examples that organizations have used in the past in real life, and then we'll go into the feedback portion of the event. So I've already touched on social media, so I won't spend too much time on that. I just wanted to show kind of two different examples of using the images and creating your own content versus sharing what we have shared on the Love Colorado Water Facebook page within your own organization's social media pages. The middle top image is something I also wanted to show. So this is a piece that was created by the City of Greeley. This is not a piece that you will necessarily find in the toolkit, but they did use, the LLYLI logo on the left-hand side, the background graphic is ours, and then they also used all of the LLYLI colors. So you're welcome to do something like that. Take the different assets that are within the toolkit, create something that works for your organization, and run with that. The bottom image is just a picture of the collateral that this is Katie from the city of Fountain, who, was at an event, had some Lily branded swag, giveaway stickers, etc. And then the two images on the left are examples. Some of them might be a little bit small font, so I apologize for that. But they are website pages from Loveland City, Loveland Water and Power, and then Northern Water on the bottom, that use links to the LLYLI website and content to be able to share that with their customers. So I think that was what I had. We are going to move into some hopefully interactive polling opportunities. If we run into issues with the poll everywhere, we may have to work a little bit on the fly, so you may just have to work with us. So I apologize if we run into some tech issues.